What is happening, Magnus? See what your drinker thought of Creed 3. What did I give it? A 3? Did I give it a 3.5? Something like that. 3 or 3.5. I think that's what I gave it. Let's check this out.
One of the things about learning to ride a bike is that sooner or later, the training wheels have to come off and you have to make a go of it by yourself with no one around to catch you if you fall. And I think that Creed 3, the first movie in the slightly weird sequel/soft reboot of the Rocky franchise, without the Italian stallion around to prop it up, is a perfect example of this. Does Adonis Creed finally manage to get out from under Rocky Balboa's shadow and forge his own legacy, or is he lost and directionless without the old veteran around to protect him?
I would say yeah, but I think having Rocky in it would have made it better. Let's see what the drinker thinks.
Well, the answer is yes and no. Creed 3 is a film I could best describe as a workmanlike sequel, doing what it does competently well without ever really excelling at anything. It proves that Adonis Creed can stand on his own without Rocky there to support him, but it also lacks a certain magic and chemistry that made the Rocky series so compelling in the first place.
And that's exactly what I told y'all. It felt like something was missing. I really couldn't put my finger on it. It may have been Rocky, it may not have been, but yeah. You know what's funny? The Creed movies don't have the magic that the Rocky movies had, but even the Rocky movies, the later Rocky movies don't have the magic that the Rocky movies had. I would say 1 through 4, and then after that, they were missing a little something. But yeah. Yeah, I liked Rocky 5, but it was I did like some of it, but something about that one was like, it felt like the low budget Rocky movie. Like it felt like, there's a switching of the guard as far as times go, like from the, when did Rocky come out, in the 70s? 70s, from the 70s, 80s, and then into the 90s, and go for it. Go. Like that song and just the time, like it didn't, something wasn't right about Rocky 5. And then Rocky Balboa? I liked Rocky Balboa. I liked seeing him get back, you know what I mean? Doing his run with his little dog and everything. I like that, the old man doing his thing. Then we came in with the Creed, right? So, yeah. Anyway.
The plot delivers some decent emotional beats between the two main rivals, while mostly neglecting the rest of the cast, and the direction proves that Michael B. Jordan is capable of hammering together a decent movie, even if the fight scenes are a bit flaccid towards the ends. In short, it's a mixed picture that I'll do my best to sort through in this review. Oh, and apologies in advance for the lack of relevant footage here, but as I've learned from past experience, MGM are complete assholes when it comes to copyright claims, so what you see might not always match up with what I'm discussing. Anyway, strap your gloves on and let's get into the ring, and I'll see you at the final bell.
They definitely can give you issues. Trying to think. By the way, from certain angles, Jonathan Majors looks like Mike Tyson. I know some of y'all saw the post that I made. Go through if you're on my Facebook or if you're on my Twitter. Even I think my community post, I may have posted it. I don't know. I don't know if I posted it on YouTube. He looks like Mike Tyson.
So Creed 3 picks up a few years after the events of the previous film. Adonis Creed is still the reigning champ, but he's approaching the end of his career, and after easily winning his final fight by knockout, he announces his retirement from the world of boxing. A fulfilled man who went out at the top of his game with nothing left to prove.
Wow.
Flash forward a few years, and all seems to be well in Adonis's world. He's a successful fight promoter and trainer, preparing the current heavyweight champion for a fight against Victor Drago. And I have to admit, unlike the Rocky movies, it's nice to see that former opponents don't just blink out of existence the moment they lose to Creed. I mean, whatever happened to Clubber Lang and Ivan Drago after their bouts with Rocky? Yeah. Did they just retire out of shame or what? Anyway, whatever. So Adonis's happy existence is disrupted.
By the way, so many people thought that he was going to be like I don't know, I guess you could say the Clubber Lang of this, like it would truly mirror Rocky 3. And I didn't think that they were going to do that. It just, first of all, I didn't think they were going to do that because it would be kind of, I don't know, maybe cheap to mirror that like that. But also, people were saying, yo, we heard it's going to be Clubber Lang's son. And ever since people started saying that, I was like, it would be so stupid, storyline wise. Just, that's some 1980s stuff. It's just, that's a Saturday, that's a TV series from the 80s type of stuff. Oh, I get to fight Drago's son. Then guess what? Next episode, I have to fight Clubber Lang's son. Like, it, to me, I was like, no, it would be stupid to do that. So, I don't know if they'll ever bring Lang back. I don't know if that would work. Bring Lang back and have maybe his protege. His son would be just too. It would be hokey to me. It'd be, you know what I mean? I think you guys understand what I mean by that. Anyway.
One day by the return of his childhood friend Dame Anderson, a former amateur boxer who's been serving an 18-year prison sentence over an incident the two of them got involved in as teenagers. Whereas Adonis escaped punishment and went on to a life of fame and success, Dame took the rap for everything and was forced to watch it all happen from behind bars. Yeah. Anyway, he's keen to get back into boxing and hopes one day for a shot at the title. But because he's getting older, he knows he doesn't have time to slowly work his way up through the ranks and become a contender, so instead he wants Adonis to use his connections and pave the way for him. Naturally, Adonis isn't too keen on this, but when Victor Drago gets attacked and injured by a mysterious assailant at a party, sidelining him from fighting while he heals up, Adonis hits on the idea of selling Dame as a kind of Rocky Balboa 2.0, a rank amateur given a 1,000,000-to-1 shot against the reigning champ.
I told Scarlo when I was watching that, I said, I bet you there's a fucking setup. I bet you.
And this all came together very conveniently for Dame, didn't it? It's almost like he engineered the whole thing. Anyway, needless to say, Dame dominates the fight and knocks out his opponent to become the heavyweight champ. And when he publicly berates and attacks Adonis, the former champion's left with no choice but to come out of retirement for one last fight to settle the score. You know, for a movie that makes such a big deal out of emerging from Rocky Balboa's shadow, it's kind of interesting that the basic framework of the story is just a copy-paste job from Rocky 5. The aging protagonist retires from boxing and takes up a new role as mentor to an up-and-coming fighter who ultimately turns against him, forcing him to come out of retirement for one last grudge match. There's even a subplot about the main character's kid getting into trouble and fighting at school and learning to stand up for themselves. The thing is, and I can't quite believe I'm about to say this, but as bleak and depressing as Rocky 5 was, I think the overall story actually worked better because the emotional beats hit home with more force. Rocky lost not just his health, but all of his money and security in the process.
I always hated that so much about Rocky 5, man. It's like, with 4, he got such a happy ending, man. That was perfect to leave it there. He avenged the death of his friend. Oh, man. And then they did that to him, and it's still at the end left him broke. I'm like, what? Come on. So at least Rocky Balboa gave him some glory, you know? As an old man, Adrian was gone. Adrian would have never let him fight at that age, you know? He's, you know, she was always his rock, and, you know, he would listen to her, so she could, you know. I mean, well, he went to Russia and fought without her approval, so, I mean, I don't know, but it made sense for her not to be there, you know, with Rocky Balboa.
He was depressed and lost without boxing, pining for his old mentor and questioning what it was all for. And straight away, he empathised with the guy. When he took on Tommy Gunn as his protege, it was as much a redemption for Rocky as it was for Gunn.
Shit, you want to talk about a sad story? Good Lord. Look up Tommy Morrison's story, man. Good Lord, his story is sad.
For him to live vicariously through the younger man, and Gunn's ultimate betrayal hit so much harder because Rocky had so much invested in him. Adonis, on the other hand, retires on his own terms to a life of wealth and comfort. He's happy and fulfilled in retirement, with a thriving business and public adoration. You don't feel like there's a huge amount at stake for the guy, because whether he wins or loses, he'll never have to work a single day for the rest of his life. And his relationship with Dame never really extends beyond doing a favour for an old friend, so the sense of hurt and betrayal isn't really there this time. There's a bare hint of a subplot with his daughter who wants to follow in his footsteps and gets into trouble at school as a result, but it doesn't really tie into anything and there's no real resolution to it. Again, Rocky V put forward the idea that Tommy Gunn became a kind of surrogate son for Rocky, causing him to neglect and ignore the plight of his actual son, who was struggling to fit into a new environment that he totally wasn't prepared for. Like I say, I'm not holding up Rocky V as some misunderstood masterpiece or anything, but I'm just saying that from a writing point of view, it actually did a better job of tying together all of its narrative strands to form a cohesive story with a logical arc. Creed 3 has
I saw that dude in the store one time. Yo, it was when I used to work for Pepsi. I worked for Pepsi years ago. And I was in the store filling the shelves. I see this dude come walking down. And he had like a WWE jean jacket on. I'll never forget that. I was like, oh, he's a WWE fan. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, this is the dude from Rocky V. This is him. I didn't say nothing to him, though. But it was good seeing you, man.
Same elements at his disposal, but doesn't really seem to know how to make use of them. The script doesn't really give Bianca much to do either. There's a vague suggestion that she's unhappy about being forced to retire from singing because of her hearing problems, which kind of mirrors what Creed's going through, but again, that subplot doesn't really go anywhere for her. It's not like she's bitter and angry and takes her frustrations out on Adonis. In fact, for the most part, she's pretty much superfluous to the story. Again, compare her to Adrian, who was always the emotional heart of the movie for Rocky, and basically acted as his sounding board, forcing to admit things that he'd rather not face up to. On the plus side, the performances were solid throughout. Jordan's definitely grown as an actor throughout these movies, and he seems much more comfortable with the character now. This version of Creed is older and more battle-scarred than before, a veteran of the ring who's already fought his wars and has nothing left to prove. In fact, the film actually makes a lot of references to the fact that he's old and damaged now, and you kind of have to wonder where they can possibly take him if they decide to do a fourth film. The star of the show, though, is...
Well, shit. They did it with Rocky. You know what I mean? Like, Rocky, man, the next fight was supposed to kill him. You know what I mean? He gets in the fight with Tommy Morrison. From what I understand, they made two versions, one where he lived, one where he died, and fans hated the one where he died, so they kept him alive. And so, you know what I mean? And then he ends up fighting after that anyway. You know what I mean? So you can just kind of sweep it under the rug narratively, and there we go. You know what I mean?
Jonathan Majors as Dame. After watching him struggle through the river of dog shit that was Ant-Man 3, it's nice to see him in a movie where his talents can actually get recognised. Dame's a bit of a tortured soul, broken down by 2 decades in prison, but there's an anger and jealousy burning away behind it all. You feel like the guy could flip out at any moment, and it gives every scene with Adonis the kind of tension you could cut with a knife. On the directed front, this was...
Told you, he played it like he was mentally unstable. I would swear that before doing this, he watched video of mentally unstable people or dudes that just got out of prison or guys in prison so he could get that mentality. If he didn't, great. If he just figured it out on his own, great. But I'm like, the way he was acting, I was just like, man, this dude looks like he's going to be a... You know, just because Creed 3, of course he's going to be fighting him, like, you know he's going to be a problem, but it's just like, damn, like, something's wrong with this dude. He's not right.
It was Michael B. Jordan's first stint behind the camera, and it's not a bad effort to be fair. If I was going to be super critical, I'd say the opening 30 or 40 minutes feel kind of flabby and uneventful, just lots of long conversations and character moments that could have been tightened up to improve the pacing. And for all the clever editing tricks, the final fight feels weirdly flat and anticlimactic. Every other movie in the series gave us well-structured fights with a definite ebb and flow. For example, one character taking a beating at first and then slowly clawing back ground as the round drag on, or another dominating the fight technically but exhausting himself trying to land that knockout blow. But here, there's no real indication that either man is winning or losing. It's just Adonis and Dame trading blows for several minutes, both looking pretty fresh and agile right up to the end, until one of them eventually falls over. And I don't know, man, it just didn't really provoke much emotion in me one way or the other. I guess I've always struggled to justify the existence of the Creed movies, since they're basically just slicker, modern retellings of the same story, only with a different, less likeable main character.
I thought the fights were good, but especially that one dream sequence part, it took me out of it. People were commenting saying they liked it, and that's cool. You know, you're free to like it, but it took me out of it. It didn't work for me. I thought they did a good job, but they don't have the, I don't know, they don't have the drama, the feel that the Rocky fights had. You know what I mean? Like even the Rocky 5 fight at the end adds a feeling to it that, you know.
But the pull of seeing Rocky one last time was usually enough to keep me hanging around at the periphery. But now that he's gone and the trailing wheels are off, I can't help but wonder how far the series is going to go before toppling over. Looking at this film as just a generic boxing drama, it's a decent enough movie with a good cast and competent direction that hits most of the marks that it needs to. The only problem is Rocky casts a very long shadow, and as much as Creed 3 tries to move beyond it, it's got a very long way to go if it hopes to dethrone the champ one day.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yeah, I mean, hell. I mean, come on, man. Like, Rocky is stitched into the fabric of Americana in pop culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was Michael B. Jordan, I wouldn't even be trying to surpass it. I'd just be trying to do my best. You know what I'm saying? As Michael B. Jordan, as Creed. That's what I would be trying to do. If people would put me in the category with the legend of Sylvester Stallone in the Rocky movies, I could only, hope and pray type of thing. You know what I mean? But yes, he casts a very big shadow to live in. And I think it's best that it is Creed rather than like Rocky's son type of movie, because then it's like, you're really living in Rocky's shadow. But with this, it's like, okay, it's Creed's son. It's, kind of an offshoot. It's different. You know what I mean? Anyway, there you go. Looks like we pretty much agreed, Drinker. Keep doing your thing, man, as usual. Can't wait till you don't like a movie again. That'll be, I always tune in for those. Post comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought. If you enjoyed my reaction and thoughts to the Drinkers review, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and share, and subscribe to the Drink Air. That rhyme they play the game. Bars! 10 million subscribers. Woo!